Hello, welcome back to the Sniff session. At some point, I was going to announce a season finale so I could take a break and focus on my writing, but that might not happen. I might just continue only doing the Sniff session for a while, and we'll see how it goes. So let's just discuss what I'm wearing today because it's part of what I'm wearing this week. I recently got a criticism that I talk too much around doing the reviews, but I do want to reiterate the point of this space, which is just to have a relaxed conversation about things in the industry, but also discuss what I'm wearing, which might have a description component, and at the end we evaluate a discovery set or two together. But this is not like a YouTuber doing reviews, and maybe it'll never be successful, it might never take off on YouTube, and that's fine, but that's what the point of this is. I'm not really doing reviews. Like I said, I have a lot of shorts as well on YouTube, so if you want to do some quick short impressions of fragrances, I can lean more into that if you want. But yeah, we just want to have a fun time here. I do appreciate feedback and I try and incorporate it where I can, but I want this is a relaxed project, and if I have too many rules and stipulations, I kind of become a little bit bored. So we're just going to keeping it casual and going through things. That being said, I received Lancôme Les Absolue I Flamed a Rose. So this is their new collection. They used to have Maison Lancôme with those rectangular bottles with that beautiful kind of gold stencil, but now they have Les Absolue, and they've created an entire line based around the rose centifolia, and everything's kind of incorporated around that. This is a patchouli vetiver rose. It's a little bit honeyed. Oh, I love this. I think that if you appreciated Beauté du Diable by Liquide Imaginaires, you will probably appreciate this one too. I find this to have more depth in the patchouli, so it's a bit more woody. It almost feels inky, like a synthetic oud almost. But yes, it's stunning. I love it, love it, love it. And so I've been wearing that today. Alongside it, I put on 2 spritz of the other kind of more mastige fragrance that I recently got, which is Santal Boisé by Versace. I've been loving this so much. It's a syrupy wood that has a medicinal aspect to it, slightly green, camphorous, but it's deep, it's woody, it feels like a black sap. It feels very witchy, but also high end at the same time, of course, because it is a luxury line fragrance, and that's been fantastic. So I put on I Flamed a Rose. It's the majority of the scent, but I gave little spritzes of that one because it has a different kind of sweetness, and so I just kind of wanted to play around with those profiles, and it works really well because I think that the art of layering fragrances is very intuitive. I think that if you smell 2 things and you can see how they would go together, you can just try and experiment. But what I've loved lately is working from home, and I can wear my a bit more unusual or weird fragrances because I don't have to care about what people think about my fragrance. And I know there's the notion of, oh, I don't care what people think about my perfume, but I realize that I'm more sensitive to like others' opinions because I already am other. Like, I'm living in Europe, I'm an African living in Europe, so I'm not the norm, so people already notice you and think about you or wonder about you. So I don't want to give any more like a reason for people to think I'm strange, but at the same time, where that boat has already sailed because I am strange, so that's fine. But I have been enjoying my more mossy green fragrances, specifically Bête Humaine by Liquide Imaginaires. This is a green forest mossy undergrowth fragrance with a little bit of a chewy chestnut note. It's really cozy. It's so special. I can't believe that not many people rave about this. I bought this for my birthday, I think in 2022, and I love it so much. I bought this and Liquide at the same time. I have just ordered a candle from Liquide by Parfum. I have requested a sample of the new Lunatique by Liquide Imaginaires, which I think we should all be proud of me for, because I could have just bought the bottle because they do send a sample with it, but I know myself, I don't do returns, so it would have been a gamble anyway. So I just ordered a candle, which I know I will probably enjoy. It's an artiste candle. I also ordered samples of almond suede and Venice Rococo, or I asked for samples, and yeah, I'm interested. There also is the artiste Grove, but I know I'm not going to like it. I don't appreciate oceanic scents very much. There are maybe 3 in existence that I like. One being Black Caviar by Electimus, another being a name I can't even remember. It's by some really obscure Italian house from some Italian coast, but it was really good. I'm so sorry, I can't remember it. I actually had the card the other day and I threw it away. And then the last one is Blue Curaçao by Jacques Fath. It's a stunning, sweet, floral blue fragrance. It feels salty, but it doesn't have that unctuous cologne that makes me feel nauseated. What else? Okay, what I really have been in loving, and this is very sad for me because that means that there are 2 Frassaï fragrances on our wish list, and that is Dormir Al Sol. I'm still deep into the winter florals arc, and this is a beautiful mimosa containing grassy fresh fragrance that feels like bottled sunshine. As days are more grey and cold, I really enjoy this. Feels like an injection of energy. So yes, thank you Natalia from Frassaï for project directing this, but now I need to get this and Blondine, which is something that I'll probably do next year. I didn't want to buy fragrance for my birthday this year. I'm turning 29 on Monday, the 28th of October, but I ended up buying perfume for my birthday this year. I bought La Terre, La Nuit by Racine, which is a fragrance I've appreciated since the beginning of the year. It's one of my favorite discoveries of the year, the brand Racine. I'm so excited for their success. They are currently at Oh My Cream in Paris. They are at Stell in New York if you're based in the US. And of course they have their own online website. And I feel so bad for all of my friends in the US who want to try them because they don't ship out to the US. But mind you, I get similar problems when trying to ship US brands to Switzerland. So, we're all struggling here. But I think if you are in the US or Canada, maybe Stell might be able to help you out. Yes, that is all I can say. Okay, I'm going to continue with what I've been wearing. But the sniff session today is going to be so exciting because I have this package I will unbox here with you today and give you a first impression of a brand that is very new, that very few people in Europe have smelled, and you have to just wait and see, but you're gonna lose your mind. Then I've been wearing Ylang Nosy. I love this in the summertime because I feel an orange blossom nuance pipe up, but the butteriness of the Ylang in winter. Listen, I know I'm not pronouncing Ylang correctly, but I'm not even going to try. It's stunning. Paris Monte Carlo. Oh, and they have a new incense fragrance that I would love to try, but I'll probably only smell it at Essence. That is the thing about influencer relationships. I remember we set up a meeting to meet this year at Essence, and we did. I met up with them and I smelled through a lot of things and I learned more about the universe. So Paris Monte Carlo and Ubigon are like under the same umbrella, and they also have a skincare brand called Paris Swiss Laboratories. And so I have received PR from them once. I would have loved to smell the new incense fragrance, but I can also wait. I still am in this zone of I have too much fragrance, I need to get rid of things, and things keep coming in. Like I was on my second PR package this week, which is not something that happens frequently. I've never received this much PR in my life. I'm grateful, but it's a lot. And luckily I've been very happy that recently everything I've received has been something that I could choose. And I think that that's so important. I mean, sometimes they ask you, would you like to receive this? Like Bon Parfumeur always ask. And most of the time it's been yes, because I knew that I liked the things. But some brands, they'll just send you here. And I'm like, thank you. And then you review it, and then suddenly they never talk to you again because it wasn't the most glowing review. That's fine. But I think it's always worthwhile if you just want to put your brand out there to let people choose what they'll likely like, and that would be a much better response. Most of us never do like creation in as a trade. Like I'm going to make a video for you for this bottle, but it's obviously good to talk about new brands that you don't have to pay out of pocket to sample. So that's kind of the state of play. Yeah. And maybe I think I'm a little too mouthy on this podcast. That might also get me bumped off a few lists or blackballed, but that's okay as well. Like I said, I have enough. Another winter floral, which is also kind of the mood I've been in, and I've been in a rosy mood, is Haunted Rose by Future Society. This is just Turkish delight in a bottle. It's stunning, and I know everybody loves Solar Canopy, and I think it's because of the proximity to Delina. It has the sourness, it's also bright, it's fresh, it's rosy, but I love Haunted Rose. It's so beautiful, it's so easy to wear. The shower gel of Haunted Rose, you guys, stunning. So stunning. It really creates a spa in your bathroom because the fragrance is so powerful that it just elevates the entire shower experience. I'm not going to talk about the politics of clean talk or these clean movements on the internet, but there is a level of extremity. On one hand, the devotion people have to justifying not cleaning their bodies frequently, but on the other hand, people that are making science up about cleanliness. For instance, some people believe you have to double cleanse, so you have to use a soap bar to clean yourself, and then you use a body wash to smell nice. That's not how that works, okay? If you see the ingredient sodium lauryl sulfate, there's going to be saponification happening, and it's the process of saponification that cleans your body. So you don't need to have two different steps to clean yourself with, okay? The biggest part of cleaning yourself is friction. So that's why I will insist that you use some kind of loofah or net or something. Also, this entire school of thought that like those plastic loofahs are so full of bacteria you don't clean yourself is not true. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. The entire notion that because the African net sponge dries quickly, you don't get the bacterial buildup. I shower twice a day. My loofah in the morning is dry and my loofah in the evening is dry. When I'm using a loofah that month, I switch between different products. But I just want to let you know, as long as you're cleaning yourself and you're using friction, you're going to get dirt off, you're going to get grime off. And also, I hate to be the one to tell you this, clean and sterile are two completely different concepts, okay? There are many things that we use that are clean, just in theory. Like, they don't have grime or residue on them, but they probably are teeming with bacteria or have some kind of little bacteria chilling in some corner, and you're not going to die. That is you washing your dishes. That is you using a dish from the dishwasher. Things are clean, but they're not sterile, because getting things sterile is quite difficult. First of all, to maintain the sterility, that object has to be in a sterile environment, and I know your home is not. Because if you have airflow, you don't have sterility, unless you have like giant filters where the airflow is. So that's just it. You can, for the most part, chill out, but you also need to have some standards. It's good to maintain cleanliness, and I'm not going to be the one to give you a list of what you should or should not do. But yeah, it's just the cleanliness debate online all the time is so funny, and I think it's hilarious to get some views or some clicks, but most of the time it's either too extreme or not detailed enough. And I think yeah, this is definitely something that needs to be set in at home in childhood, and I think most people are fine. Let's go. I've been wearing Pernoire's Poka a lot as well, which is their new gourmand. I don't yet have the bottle, but I probably will tomorrow, probably. But it's delicious. It's really yummy. I did find it's a little bit minty on my skin, but then that goes away. And I will talk to you about another new thing in a second. But the new thing is the new Gritti fragrance. But I didn't ever talk about Monica by Gritti, which is this beautiful creamy tuberose that also has some rose in it. And I think that that combination is so luscious. It feels like the ultimate femininity. I also love the romance behind it. This was the signature scent of Luca Gritti's wife that he made for her, and then for many years it was just hers and hers alone, and then they released it this year, I think on the 20th anniversary of the nascence of the scent. But you can go onto the website to know the full lore. I might have a few details wrong, but I do know that it's called Monica because his wife is Monica, and this was her scent that he made for her. But the new Gritti fragrance I have with me, and it just arrived very recently. It's in this gorgeous hot pink bottle, matching my eye makeup if you're watching on YouTube. And I have to say, I'm so happy that I don't have many tactile icks. So I love the velvet boxes. I love the velvet bottles. I know that some people really dislike that about Boho Boko, the velvet caps, but I do love it. But for the most part, I mean, I'm going to hold this for a max of 2-3 minutes if I'm spraying it. And I have worn it. And I will say that this is fantastic. This is a stunning honeyed floral when you put it on. It feels so grown up. It feels so interesting. It feels like a traveled woman. But then you get a little bit of a mintiness and you're thinking, what's going on here? Maybe it's that bubblegum. When I first saw the note list, I was a bit skeptical, but then I smelled it and I was like so chuffed. But then what happens in the dry down is that the honey takes a little bit of a back seat, and then the florals go forward and they get a little bit synthetic and plasticky, and it smells like doll's heads. I don't know if you had these, but one of the pinnacles of being it as a little girl when I was growing up was having one of those giant Barbie heads, and then you play with her hair, and this smells like those doll heads' hair. It's a little bit plasticky, slightly sweet, a little bit floral. It's very distinct, and it took me back to those times. So this is actually a very camp fragrance in a time where everybody's releasing quite safe fragrances, and I'm so excited about that. This is an extrait, but I think that most of the Gritti fragrances are, so it's on theme for the brand. So I'm very excited about this. I know that a lot of people won't be, and that's okay, but I'm happy to be the one to tell you first. This Hysterica by Gritti, yeah, get into it. But it's also very particular, so you definitely have to sample this. Finally, still in my rose mood, I've been wearing a lot of Mansa by Pernoire. This is their rose oud. It's got also a big dose of black currant, so it feels a little bit tangy. It feels a little bit green, and then you have a rose that's not too sweet. It's more mineralic than jammy, and then you have a nice clean oud wood accord, maybe real oud as well. I didn't ask, I don't know, but it's also quite a tannic oud. It feels like a tannery. And then I've also been wearing oodles of Aris Cartagena. A lot of people have been pronouncing it Cartagena, and I don't know why, because this is a French brand, and I feel like that's more of a Spanish pronunciation, but it's good. It's a very buttery iris. It starts off quite green. It's an extrait that sits quite close to the skin. It's not giving you beast mode. I can see a lot of people loving this fragrance, but I also think that this is for people who are more versed with iris. This is not a safe purchase. I would say a lot of their normal line is very safe, but this is not as safe as the others. I also saw that they're releasing 4 more. There are 3 in this line and there are 4 more coming, and it just feels like a lot. I feel like they're just bombarding the market, and it feels like warfare at some point. It just feels like, what do you know that we don't? But like I said, somebody's going to take up the mantle of interviewing different perfumers and brand owners to talk about these nitty-gritty things. And like I said, because of my current life circumstances, it's not going to be me. So I still happily release that idea out into the universe. Of course, my friend Emma Vernon has the Perfume Room podcast, where she kind of dives into the perfume life and story of different people in and out of the industry, or just perfume lovers alike. I need to listen to this latest episode. She's got Rachel Saimi on, and Rachel is a writer, content writer, but she's about to release a book about the art of penmanship and being a pen pal with somebody and sending like physical letters. But more so, I used to follow her perfume genie threads on Twitter, where people would ask for a certain prompt, and then she would give them a fragrance based on that prompt. I remember she did one of my genies, and when I said I wanted to smell magnetic and kind of Marilyn Monroe-esque, and she suggested Ligeia La Sirena by Cartuja, which I sampled, and I did love the sample, but somehow the full bottle does not smell the same. And I've been abusing the bottle for years, trying to age it so it could be like the sample I tried. But no, actually she didn't give me Ligeia La Sirena. She gave me Fiori di Capri by Cartuja, and that just reminded me of my grandmother, because my grandmother wore a very incensed ambery floral fragrance, and this incense floral from Cartuja, this Fiori di Capri, is kind of like that. Okay, so that's what I've been wearing. Here's what I've been trying to read, and this is a very easy read, so in theory I should finish this within a weekend, and it's called Land of Milk and Honey by C. Pam Zhang, and it's basically a post-apocalyptic Earth, and I'm still trying to figure out what the situation is, but the writing is really good. She's really good at world building. I'm invested in the character, but I'm just not invested enough in reading. But to try and also maintain this momentum, because I'm going to enter my 30s as somebody who reads frequently. I'm not going to be somebody who just has a library of to-be-reads. I'm going to read Ficciones by Jorge Luis Borges. He is quite a prominent Latin American novelist, and this is a collection of his short stories. And he also, from what I understand, is quite well versed and knowledgeable on different religions and philosophies. I wonder how that translates into his writing. So I'm very excited about that. And now, I guess, I don't know how long I've been yapping for. We can get into this sniff session for the day. So, on one hand, we're going to go through the Francesca Bianchi Discovery Set. I've smelled everything, I've worn everything on skin, and now we can smell through it together. What I will say about Francesca Bianchi is that she has a specific style, but I think you will only note the true ones you love. There are a few ones that I know I don't like at all from the Batin. I never will, but you kind of have to smell all of them side by side, because there is this distinct like signature to her work where you might think you like one, but you're thinking of another one because they have a similar facet. So this is what we are going to unravel together. I do know my favorite though. I do know my favorite, and she's coming out with an oud scent soon, so it would be good to kind of postulate what she will do with oud. But first, we're doing her first impressions. I have this little envelope that's come to me all the way from North America, and this just goes to show what online friendships and parasocial relationships kind of do. And I feel so grateful and so blessed to have found a space where there are people who have such different lives and have lived so many different things from you, and you just share this commonality. And this is why I have such a deep appreciation for humanity, and this is why I believe people's lives are precious, and the notion of war and all of these conflicts really bothers me. This is why the concept of the death penalty bothers me, and even like abolition is such a tricky topic for me as well, because I understand why we would want to remove certain even that feels so impersonal, but I understand why people would think that some people are too far gone. But also, like, I think that we all understand a certain thing about being alive, and I think that we all have some values. I think that we all should be allowed to live as we are. I remember last episode, I'm sorry, I'm keeping you suspense. Last episode I was talking about something that was annoying me about the industry, which is the extremageddon of it all. I did this week want to praise a certain practice I'm noticing more, and I understand that this is a practice that is privileged because you need to be able to invest in this in order to pull it off. So we know in perfumery, like, a lot of brands for a long time did not offer samples because in theory the cost per volume increases the smaller the volume you have. So a sample is more expensive than a 50 ml is more expensive than 100 ml. And lately I'm seeing more brands release travel sizes, and that's fantastic because sometimes you just want to have a little bit of the juice and you don't want the full bottle. And we've discussed this before. I think 30 ml's perfect, and I think that if you're only going to release one size, it should be a 50 ml, and then you can actually get away with low-key exorbitant pricing. So for instance, I've just purchased La Terre Nuit for my birthday, and that was €97, I want to say. And in theory, for 50 ml, it's not really a cheap fragrance. It's almost a €200 bottle if you were to say double the price for 100 ml. But it didn't seem unreasonable to pay that price. It actually felt like a cheap fragrance. And also with Gabba, they sell 50 mls for £120, around 140 francs/euros, and that feels reasonable even though it's 50 ml. But the minute you're telling me to spend $280 on 100 ml, I'm questioning whether you are sane of mind, right? And yeah, so 50 ml is a perfect single volume release. If you're going to have multiple volumes, do a 30 and do a 100. But I think that people in the industry have kind of figured this out already. But I do want to appreciate the brands for coming up with travel sizes. They are much loved, and sometimes when you want a new fragrance but you can't really justify it in the budget, sometimes you can justify paying a little for a little 10 ml or 15 ml. So I appreciate them. One thing I did want to say is that it's reaching Advent calendar season, and there's literally no good reason why you as a fragrance brand should release an Advent calendar. I'm gonna say it just like that. Let it sink in. Even you beauty brands, right? Dior Beauty, YSL Beauty, stop it. I even saw there's a Molten Brown Advent calendar. Can I tell you, one way to make me angry is to give me a miniature of anything. What am I going to do with a miniature lipstick? And I know some of these things you guys give away as tester samples for free when people purchase things. And now it's supposed to be valuable. And people are spending like upwards of $300 for these Advent calendars. Why don't we just go back to chocolates? Let's just go back to having a little sweet treat every day, because I will be so upset. Because most of the time, let's say like the Guerlain one is something I wanted a couple of years back, but then I realized you're getting like maybe 7-10 mls from their La et Matière collection, which is fabulous, by the way. But who actually loves all of those fragrances? I know that I don't want the Neroli. I know that I don't like the Oud Nude. I like the Cherry Nude from Guerlain, but I don't like the Oud one. So why would I get the calendar? There's only going to be maybe 3 of the minis that I like. The lipstick is going to be mini. I do not have mini lips. And then you're going to have like 2 uses of a skincare product, so you can't really evaluate if you really like it or not. It irks me so much. I guess a shower gel you can use for traveling, but if I have 10 different miniature shower gels to try and I can only try them out when I'm traveling, that's annoying. Luckily, I am a traveler, so within a few months I will be able to test them out, but I want to test them now. But I'm not going to go into my shower and use a little dollop of a 10 ml shower gel. It's a scam. We need to all acknowledge advent calendars are a scam. But enough of that. Let's get into the Scout Dixon West Discovery Set. Again, I love the internet. I love the parasocialism of it all. I love defying customs. I also love the inspiration you get from being online. I love that. I don't know if it was her plan from the get-go. Obviously, she's always loved fragrances, but I didn't know if it was her plan from the get-go to create a following by just charming us all to death and then have a fan base from which to get customers. But I think that that's fantastic. I wish her so much success. She is oodles of coolness and charm and just good graces. And yeah, I'm very excited to smell these. So she has a trio introduction collection to Scout Dixon West perfumes. The details are immaculate and it's just beautiful. So I know that there are 3 fragrances. I've seen many reviews of them, but of course you'd never know until you try it. So she's got Incarnate, Dorado, and Coney Island Baby. Even the font choice for the sample is ridiculously cool. This first one that I pulled out is Incarnate, which I'm going to wait to smell later because I kind of want to smell them in the order in which I believe I will like them. So El Dorado is supposed to be inspired by her hometown, which is a small gold rush town. And gosh, isn't that so beautiful? The stories of the worlds that we live in. I mean, I've watched so many frontier movies, it's ridiculous. And people actually live in these places. And I know that she's worked with, it's so green because it's in the air. She's worked with Givaudan perfumers. I'm not going to tell you the perfumer for each one because I can't remember. Oh, this is my kind of green. It's slightly bitter and medicinal. Definitely coniferous. It's woody, but it's a light woody, not a heavy woody. Oh no. It's so interesting. A lot of people said that this was giving like a traditional plain barbershop kind of fragrance, and I don't know which barbers you're going to, but I don't think it's that. I can see like there is a clean soapy vetiver in here. You know what I love about this? There are so many fragrances that I suppose try and do this greenness and then they get spoiled by the addition of I hate to join this train, but those punchy amber woods and akigala wood, there's something that makes it more synthetic than it needs to be. Oh, but this is lush. I can see why people call it more masculine because woods and green equals man. But I would wear this. I would easily wear this. I'm sorry, I have to try this on skin. Oh dear, I really didn't think I would be this enamored so quickly. I might have misjudged. Maybe I'm doing it the wrong way round. Oh yes. Oh, I can, on skin, you can feel the nuttiness of the vetiver as well. And it's brighter. I get some more citric aspects. Oh man, I'm so excited to wear these on my skin. Wow. El Dorado, fantastic. Next, we're smelling Coney Island Baby. And this is the one that I think has had the most interesting reception. People say it's got a synthetic aspect, and I think Coney Island is a amusement park. I don't know. I've heard about it, but I haven't really looked into it. There's actually so much about America and Americana culture that I don't know or understand, but I will at some point. Oh, yes, I get the bubblegummy, a little bit of rubber. It's sweet. Yes, it's quite vanillic, but it's kind of like a vanilla. It's not as deep into the vanilla. I see why lots of people love this. This is fun. This is really fun. I'm sorry, I hope you didn't hear my stomach growling. Yeah, this is so cool. This kind of, to me, is in the same universe as Gritti's Hysterica. The rubberiness isn't as pronounced as I expected, but I suppose if you're not somebody who smells a lot of strange fragrances, then it would be quite jarring. But yeah, this is bubblegum. It's like, feels like Gumball machine gum to me. And there is like a lactonic nature to it. I can feel the creaminess coming through. Oh wow, and the sweetness is kind of drying down and going away and dissipating. And I get the waffle nature of it. I get the waffle cone. Oh, this is really well done. This is fantastic. I really appreciate it. But that is something that would be too sweet for me, and I have a good number of sweet fragrances in my collection, but I know that would be too sweet for me to wear. But it's really capturing a moment. And this is Incarnate, an incense vanilla. She said, oh, this is stunning. I was right. It is immaculate. A sugared vanilla, a woody incense. Yes, it feels there's a little bit of a toasted something in there. It's a little bit scratchy as well. It kind of has nuances of Noir Exquis by L'Artisan Parfumeur. Yeah, I was right. I was instinctually correct. Incarnate is my favorite, and then El Dorado, and then Coney Island Baby. I have to put this on skin now, and I think I have to add this to the Vanilla Showdown. This is amazing. Oh, it's greener on my skin, actually. And the vanilla is quite delicate. You really get like this smoked incense smell. And that's something I've always said about incenses. I said this the other day. I wanted an incense that smells like incense that you burn, not just the concept of incense. And this is that. I can smell the wooden core of the incense and then the surrounding incense itself, and it's lit. Oh, I love it. I really do. The vanilla is a cozy vanilla, and then you have this incense on top of it, and it's woody, and it's not as sweet on my skin as it was on the blotter. Oh, this is just an incredible feat. This is a beautiful first collection. I love the delicacy of it. I love the concepts and the contrasts and the storytelling, and stunning. So stunning. I saw somebody do a review of them saying that they didn't receive it in PR, so they can give an unbiased opinion. Oh, also because they don't follow Scout, so they can give an unbiased opinion. And that's always interesting to me. And it's like, I don't think I love these fragrances because Scout made them. But I mean, probably because Scout made them. But I love them because they're good fragrances. And I think because Scout was involved, that's why they're good fragrances. And of course, she used a great house. And I love that she managed to weave the connections together from being in the industry to create this line. And this is exciting. And this is clearly going to be successful. And I need to check out how much Lucky Scent will charge me for shipping, because I think I might need a bottle of Incarnate. Expeditiously. This was so sneaky. This is so good. At the same time, like, Dorado is competing with Verdeux Barracine for my favorite citrusy vetiver. These are fantastic. Coney Island Baby is also fantastic. It's just not Valerie. But these are great. These are great. I'm so happy that, one, I love them, and I'm so happy to again have made the connection to have Scout send these to me. Very kind and gracious of her. I feel so blessed, and these are fantastic. I almost want to stop the episode here, but Francesca Bianchi, women-owned brand, and the perfumer is the owner. She is driving the creative direction and all of the choices. She's got beautiful, simple-looking bottles, but the fragrances are anything but simple. And so I think we might as well dive into these as well. So, independent perfumer, she is Italian but lives in the Netherlands, I believe. And she sent over a discovery set a while ago. And I've been playing around with them for a long time. But also, when I do this podcast, I need to be in the mood for them. And I've been wanting to really highlight this brand for the longest time. But I didn't have the strength. Because, one, it's a very big discovery set. So it always just felt really daunting to sit through all of that. But today I do have the strength. So let's start with these part of a Liquid Emotions set, and one of them is my favorite, so I suppose I'm kind of spoiling the end. So this is Libertine Neroli. I love Neroli, as you all know, but not all Nerolis are created equal. So one thing about Francesca's work is that it's very dense. There is no light airiness. It's very heavy, which I once said is quite a characteristic of Italian perfumery. What I love about this feels like a neroli has just been squeezed and concentrated. So all of the light airiness that is usually used in a neroli fragrance in the industry is compressed. So it has a biting greenness that makes me think of Petit Grain. Then you have kind of a sweet bubblegum heart, kind of in this bubblegumminess of the way the orange blossom is in Love Don't Be Shy. Like it could be a marshmallow. It's really sweet. I think a lot of people will really love this. I think it's beautiful. I'm happy to just have this sample. I don't think I would go through a full bottle. Then we have dun dun dun, the star of the show, which is I think my favorite from the line, and I probably will invest in a bottle because this is something that would be a feature in my collection forever. What I've really loved about my purchasing decisions for the past few years is that I haven't bought many things that I wouldn't want to replace. So I've already done that twice this year. I've replaced Il Poupre, I replaced Sandalwood Temple a couple of months ago, weeks ago, years ago. And I also replaced Pure Eve by the different company. So I love this enduring Scorpio love I have for fragrances, and Byzantine Amber feels like that kind of love. Oh my goodness. First of all, the juice itself is like thick and dense and orange. And it feels like this ancient amber. You have a leathery facet that opens up everything, and then you have a sweet, rich amber that sits with orris. Orris in the form of something that is less balmy, but also not powdery. It's something in between. Almost, sometimes when I describe orris as papery, that's what I mean. It's in between being powdery and being that balmy orris that we often encounter. Oh, it's so excellent. Like, I don't think there's anybody who would smell this, and sure, it might not be for you, but I don't think you could smell Byzantine amber and not marvel at the excellence of its craftsmanship. Like, this, like, the minute I opened the package, I smelled this thing first. And yeah, the minute I opened the package, I discovered my favorite from the brand. It's excellent. It's slightly leathery. It's got a little bit of a bite. All of her fragrances almost have a little bit of an animal quality to them. But yeah, this is fantastic. Byzantine amber, I'm gonna love wearing that in this cooler time. In the winter time, that on your scarf, you will be the richest thing in every corner. That's also the thing about Francesca Bianchi, is that even though she is not trying to peddle this luxury image, the fragrances speak for themselves. This feels like a luxury house, and that's what I appreciate. Of course, I don't appreciate every scent, which we will discover together, but I appreciate the quality of the house. I believe that she works with a certain producer in Grasse for some of her ingredients. So, but also it's like this one particular supplier. So I think that's a very clever way to craft kind of an identity for yourself. So now we're going to smell Sex and the Sea Neroli, which is what I thought I had duplicate of, but not quite. I realized I didn't get Unspoken Musk, which I was quite sad about, but hey, I'm very grateful to smell this anyhow. Yeah, so where Liberty Neroli has that sweet gumminess, it's cut out in Sex and the Sea Neroli. I don't necessarily get a saltiness. Oh no, there it is. Yeah, I do get kind of a marine vibe, and it's just gone over the point where I would enjoy wearing it. Like for me, I don't know if it's ambergris or cologne in this one. I can't do it. I grew up in a place with two oceans, so it's not like I never went to the sea. I appreciate the sea, the smell of washed up kelp, like it's very evocative, but I just don't want to smell like that. Now I've sprayed Luxe Calm Volupte. This is fun because I loved this when I first smelled it as well. It's quite tropical, a little bit floral, sweet again. But on my skin, what happens... So on the blotter, it feels more juicy, but on my skin, there's something to it that reminds me of Vaseline. It feels a little bit waxy, a little bit like petroleum jelly. But this is fun. It's tropical. I think it's quite easy to wear. I think a lot of people would love that one. I think that would be viral if people paid enough attention. Then I'm sniffing Etruscan water. I feel like I should know more about this cultural reference, but I do not. I do think there was some tribe of Italians that were the Etruscans, maybe? I don't know, you tell me in the comments, or I'll look it up later. Okay, so here we get into the little bit of an animalic quality that some of her stuff has. This feels like a little bit camphorous. This one is more light, but there's some underlying pissiness to it. Are we allowed to say that? Okay, I always say this is not for children, so I'm going to say what I need to say. That one isn't bad, but it's not my favorite. And like I said, you really have to smell them all together to appreciate their differences. But I think anybody who knows Francesca Bianchi will know anything that is a Francesca Bianchi scent. Now we have Sticky Fingers. I love the names she uses. The brand feels a little bit hedonistic, which is fantastic for Scorpio season. Patchouli. Yummy, sticky, sweet patchouli. Yes. I love that. It's great. Would I wear it though? Not as readily as I would wear Byzantine Amber, I guess. Some fragrances are like I need to be in the mood for, and those are the fragrances I don't want to purchase, because I want fragrances, of course I'm always in the mood for a certain fragrance when I choose a fragrance for the day, but I want fragrances that it's a sure thing, I will spray this and I'm going to love it. Now I'm smelling Dark Side. Oh, I love this one too. This one is more, it has like a honeyness to it, but this one's more grassy and leafy and piney. Oh, this one I love. This one's another love with Byzantine Amber. It feels a little bit more witchy. Fantastic. Okay, Dark Side and Byzantine Amber are the faves, the bells of the ball so far. And now we are smelling Under My Skin. Ooh, oh yes, I remember this one. She says, is it dread that I'm feeling? No. Oh, on my skin, this was a completely different experience. So you have like a musky quality. I remember, yeah, it feels musty. It feels like rolling over and like kissing your lover, but they haven't washed their hair in a couple days. And last night they wore Lux Convolute to bed. Yeah. So this was interesting in its particular, but I love the imagery of it, Under My Skin. And then we have Sex and the Sea. No Neroli. I love this. I'm such a water baby, but I'm always particular about being in certain environments if it's in the adult life, because I think being a child, you had the fun of somebody else taking care of logistics. You don't have to worry about where your belongings are, but now everything just feels like more of a mission. So I do like when people can evoke certain environments. This is lovely. Again, this is not something I would wear. There's something that reminds me a little bit like bugs. But you feel the oceanic vibe. And it feels serene. It feels like when you're standing at the edge of the beach, like maybe you're on a hill and you're not quite close enough to the shore, but you can just hear the waves crashing in and out. And it's not a very stormy or like tumultuous day. It's just kind of the tide going in and out, and you have that salt air hitting you. Maybe it's not even a sunny day, there's a little bit of wind in the air. That's the kind of serenity I feel in smelling this one. That was great. But again, I wouldn't wear that, but it's great. The execution, I can say, really you cannot criticize. It's just whether something's for you or not. Angel's Dust. Now, a lot of people love this one as well. So, heliotrope, because I get that bitter almond that's very sharp and kind of reminds me of vintage fragrances. There's the iris in here too. It's going to get really powdery. I remember on my skin, this also got a little bit pissy in the summertime, because I smelled this when I was in Milan. No, when I was in Sicily. You know, every year I say I'm not going to travel much, and then 7 months into the year I've been to many countries. That's the trouble with living in Europe. Sometimes it's like, oh, I could go there, and it's like, oh, I've been to Milan, Paris, Sicily, and I'm going to the UK. Very briefly. Please do not reach out to meet up. I'm only going there for a short time for a very specific purpose. I will have a visa for 6 months now, so I might come back. But yes, when I come back, I will let you know and we can meet up. But for now, I'm going for a very brief time. I see why Angel Dust is a bestseller. It's really beautiful. It does feel like powdery angel wings that somehow have some kind of talc on them, and it does feel a little ethereal. Now Tiger Tiger. I think this is another one I really liked. I like the name. It's the name of a club, or used to be, I don't know if it's still there, in Claremont, Main Road, Cape Town, and it was kind of the fancier club in the area, and they had like a dress code, and yeah, that's where we would try and party in my youth. Oh, this is quite like a bubblegummy fragrance. Maybe is that a tuberose or a jasmine? Again, everything is dense. I don't know if you've ever seen those hydraulic press videos where they take an object and then slowly compress it with a very strong press, and then you just see it exploding. I feel like some of the notes in some of these fragrances have been compressed using that kind of machine. Yeah, I think this is a lovely, like, bubblegummy sweet fragrance that a lot of people would love. Not me though. I, again, never want to smell like bubblegum. Okay, next we have the Mariner's Rhyme. I'm not going to spray this one because I know I don't like it. It's very oceanic. It feels like maybe it's ambergris that I smell, but it feels very cologne-like, and yeah, it's just not, it's going to ruin my day, so I'm not going to spray that. But maybe if you like oceanic scents, which the people who do like marine fragrances really love that one, so definitely check it out, but I'm not going to do that to myself today. Now we're spraying Lost in Heaven. This also has more of a grassy green facet to it. I don't know where heaven is here. Heaven is sweet. Heaven is a little musky. I'm getting a little bit of that pissiness as well. Interesting. Maybe it's good to be a sinner. That one's not my favorite. Lover's Tale. All of her juices are so rich. This one's red, and I'm sure she doesn't color them. I think it's just based on the ingredients. Lover's Tale. Ooh, that is getting a little skanky. Oh, I don't know what the lovers were doing, but it wasn't something PG, let me tell you. It's a little animalic. Like, it feels like the tail end of a skanky oud. A little musky and something sweet, something a little bit floral. Yeah, what I love about these fragrances as well is that she uses a lot of like naturals, so it's become more difficult for me to really pull out certain notes, which I love, which means that it's more about the storytelling and what you feel and you can evoke from it rather than the scent itself. And I think this is an interesting challenge for us people who talk about perfumes online, to somehow confer the nature of the smell when we don't necessarily have the vocabulary and cannot just pull on our knowledge of the synthetic notes that we're accustomed to, or the context of natural notes in a synthetic environment. That's fun. I've just sprayed the Black Knight. Oh, this is quite dark. It also feels like a more sticky patchouli. It's leathery as well. This is quite nice. This is quite dark. It's leathery. It's less sticky than the rest of the scents. Also less sweet, which I appreciate. It's kind of like a nose cleanser. Quite interesting. I really appreciate Black Knight. It's again a scent I wouldn't reach for often and wouldn't wear, but I really like it. It's really cool. So I'm very happy to have these samples. And finally, we have Encounters. Yeah, I really wish I had the musk, but it's fine. Oh, this is so lovely. This is floral. A little bit RSC as well, powdery. Again, not too sweet. I don't think I'd sprayed this one on myself. This one feels musky. Oh, love it. Oh, I really love it. That's the second favorite. That's it. My top 3: Francesca Bianchi, Byzantine Amber, Encounters, and The Dark Side. I am so grateful to have this discovery set and to have had it sent to me. I'm grateful for your time listening to me blabber on about fragrance and everything else. I hope you are having a lovely week. I hope that you get to sniff something interesting that resonates with how you want to present to the world. And always remember to sample before you buy. And as always, happy sniffing.